Hello and welcome to the latest Capital and Kayfabe. I am your co-host JP Japaz from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me is the political pundit, the former campaign manager, the author, the historian, Mr. Jack Hunter. Jack, welcome in. How you doing?
Hey, good to be with you, John. Exciting year-end show today.
Yeah, we were kind of doing a wrestling and politics last week as far as like a year in review, but this is really the year-end show for us here. There's so much going on. I feel like even lately, even more going on with Nick Shirley, the independent, I guess you could call him a journalist, going out there and discovering even more fraud in Minnesota and how obvious this fraud is. I mean, just what a crazy way to end the year.
Totally. And yeah, it does not shock me that an independent journalist, and he is a journalist, and we can get to that, found that out, not other kinds of journalists.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Because even Joe Rogan had mentioned that it seems like more like the independent, not only independent media, which is obviously that's a separate thing where they're kind of taking off versus mainstream media, which absolutely sucks. It's just terrible. But why do you think like independent journalists can basically unearth and undercover get all this stuff and all this information and really open eyes to a lot of things that the mainstream media and other media do not open, then we don't ever find out from them.
Because independent journal job that legacy media establishment journalists used to do. People think I'm being hyperbolic or overstating the case when I say the purpose in their minds and their mission of modern legacy mainstream establishment journalism, I'm talking about CNN, New York Times, stuff like that, is to protect power. If you're one of those people, you see this thing going on in Minnesota that looks really bad for the Democratic Party. It looks bad for their Democratic governor, Tim Walz. It looks bad for Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, which a lot of this happened in their district with a lot of Somali immigrants. Your thinking is not, wow, we got to get to the bottom of how $1 billion was scammed away from Minnesota taxpayers. That's not where your mind goes. Your mind is, we got to protect these Democratic figures and not make them look bad. That is how they think. So an independent journalist is like, I want to know what happened. I want to know the truth. And this Nick Shirley guy apparently went there and learned all sorts of neat stuff that Minnesotans as taxpayers should know, Americans, because everybody's focused on the story nationally, because it's such a symbol of democratic corruption that, once again, the legacy media wants to cover up or not talk about. They'll cover it broadly, like this is happening, yeah, blah, but they're not going to do investigative journalism in the way that journalists used to do. There's a reason that Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger, independent journalists, found out about the Twitter files, how the government was spying on our social media and pressuring companies. And then they go before Congress, and Congress basically insults these journalists and calls them journalists in quotations. No, independent journalists are actual journalists in 2025. Right now, legacy media is there to protect power and to promote government narratives.
Man, it's crazy. He's just an independent journalist. Nick Shirley released basically a 45-minute long video just uncovering all this fraud and all this things going on. It's like, wow, this guy did it basically within 45 minutes and did better work than God. All these other companies combined that aren't even covering it at all. Pretty insane. And then they go to this child daycare center, which is tied to Tim Walz, and it basically was given $4 million. It doesn't exist. There's no children there. And the worst part is it's a learning center. If you could see here, quality, and it's not even spelled correctly. Leering Center.
The Leering Center.
And there's the independent journalist, Nick, who did a great job. But can you believe that's a Leering Center? Like that's insult to injury there.
I think Jeffrey Epstein was a teacher at the Leering Center. He leered at all the kids. There. Yeah, no, this guy's doing basic. I mean, he just shows up and he sees the sign. He's like, what the hell? He's the only person that's covered this, to my knowledge.
Yeah. Pretty wild stuff. Like, just I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched a bunch of the video. And he's asking these questions. They gave you this much amount of money, and the people are like dumbfounded, like, wait, what? They're asking us about this? They're what do we say? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. It's nuts.
They're offended that anybody's looking into this and we report about it. I have a friend that works for South Carolina state government here, who shall remain nameless, and he just got this job with the state. And about a month in, his frustration is he does absolutely nothing every day. And he asks, he's like, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And everybody tells him, shut up, keep your head down, keep collecting a paycheck, basically. Wow. So he tells me that in confidence, but like, I'm like, I'm not shocked at what you're telling me. That is government. So, look, I have plenty of friends who work in government and do work. I'm not saying that, but like this thing in Minnesota and what my friend said, also, yes.
Man, they're uncovering a ton of fraud in Minnesota. They're saying it could get up to a couple $billion worth of fraud, maybe even up to $8 billion of fraud. Isn't that insane? Holy
That's
crap.
totally stupid. That's Minnesotans paying for that. This is a state scam. And it's not the only one in the country. It's the one we're talking about right now.
Not to get too far off track here, but Minnesota, man, since 2020, what a maybe even before that, but man, since 2020 to now, one news story after another. What a debacle. Holy crap. Horrible.
Yeah, Minnesota, the home of legendary 80s and 90s pro wrestlers and fraud. So,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And even a couple other good ones, although Brock Lesnar left Minnesota for Canada, but still.
I'm thinking of, Flair's from Minnesota.
Of course, Hawk, Animal.
Yeah, is it Kurt Hennig?
Rick Rude.
Or see, but there's the West Texas group, and then there's the Minnesota guys, and Vern Gagne and all that stuff. Obviously, Rick Rude's a Minnesota guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Hawk and Animal.
Yep. Road Warrior. I mean, Demolition Smash. Brady Boone.
Is Barry Darso?
Yeah, Minnesota guy.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. He went to school with all those guys. He went to school with Scott Norton.
Yeah, they all kind of knew each other, or were security guards at bars and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I think of. And Flair, who, here in the Carolinas, we associate with Charlotte and all that, but he's Minnesota, adopted there by his medical doctor father.
When you're looking at, obviously, Minnesota, we're talking about the fraud going on, but there is other fraud possible, and I need to get maybe your edification on this. What about election fraud? What is going on with this from 2020? It seems like on Christmas we got a nice little present as far as uncovering maybe some election fraud. What is the latest? What's going on here?
Yeah, and I'm not the absolute expert on it, but it looks like some of the accusations have been made in the past, like that the votes, it's not to say they're not legitimate, but they weren't certified legally in the way they should be. Was it like 300,000 or something like that, which is significant in the state of Georgia?
Yes.
Something like that. And some of that was what Trump was ranting and raving about. And when you look back, and I think Biden won the election. I've talked about that plenty, and there is election fraud in every single election, from dog catcher to president of the United States, all the time. Like, that happens. The question is it enough to change the outcome of an election? That's what we're really talking about. 300,000 or whatever the number is, and maybe I'm saying it wrong. If I'm misreporting, I apologize. I'm not trying to do that. Uncertified, not going by the book, is a big deal, and there's some massive lack of oversight there.
I just saw a funny thing online. People were writing like, Biden, 81 million votes. He can't get enough money to get a library together. Like, it is funny, like how the mighty has fallen here. If he really did get that amount of votes, and he really was that popular, how come doesn't really seem to be that popular at all? You know what I mean? It is funny when people bring stuff like that up. Some of it's common sense. Some of it's like, well, he maybe just fell out of favor completely after the debacle of a presidency.
Yeah, you don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm still working on investigating the election that was, what was it, Cyber Sunday, where we all voted on what match should happen on WWE pay-per-view, Cyber Tuesday, or whatever the hell it was.
Did you ever hear that story about Vince with those? The vote had to be real for some reason. No, for some reason, I heard it from several wrestlers doing interviews and stuff, that he said it has to be real, that he wanted it to be legitimate. I was like, legit? That's kind of, I think that's kind of crazy. Like, you're kind of really leaving it up to the fans?
Yeah, and I would have never, as a wrestling fan, even if I wasn't a wrestling fan, just do what pro wrestling is. I wouldn't have thought that was legit at all. But you're saying it is. Yeah,
that's what, unless they're working, they're working the smart marks there, but that's what they've said. Even I remember Shelton Benjamin, he won a vote. They didn't expect him to win. So then once he won the vote, Vince was like, well, you're winning the title now. Like, I forget the circumstance of it, but yeah, it like kind of changed his mind when he saw that that many people had voted for him.
Yeah, wow, that's the first time he listened to. They always say they listen to the audience, but that's not really true, especially with Vince.
Oh my God, hell no. He almost seems to do the opposite.
Yeah, he's like, Danielson's getting over organically. We're not doing that, and he gets there eventually, but dragging and screaming, kicking and screaming.
I love the fact that he brings Danielson into his office, because obviously this is out there because Bryan Danielson did an interview talking about it. But Danielson wins the title. He's getting a big push after WrestleMania. The week after, he brings him into the office. He's like, okay, you're going to be champ for a few months. Lesnar squashes you, and then we move on to the. And then Danielson's like, wait, so I'm not like the guy I just won the WrestleMania main event. I just beat, 3 guys in one night. I thought we were like giving me the big push. And Vince is like, nah, no, pal, I don't see you that way. You see yourself that way? And he's like, well, yeah, I thought I was the man, and
Right.
Vince is so like, I don't know, willy-nilly or doesn't pay attention or maybe doesn't care about people's emotions, but he literally sits the guy down and basically is like, okay, Lesnar's going to squash you in a few months. Well, like, let's talk about that. Like, as as you're the wrestler, you're like, wait a second, I'm not going to be getting a big push here, Vince. And Vince doesn't care one iota.
It's always sounded like he's the opposite of what Tony Khan's accused of. Tony Khan's accused of not being able to book big men, right? You hear that. I'm not saying it's true or not, but that's what people say. That's what critics say.
Yep.
Vince only wanted big men. You had the post-steroid scandal in the 90s where he went to Bret Hart and guys that didn't look like Hulk Hogan because he didn't want everybody to look like they were on steroids. But in general, I could see him looking at Bryan Danielson and being like, that's not the world champion. Even though he's got world champion written all over him in every wrestling fan's eyes, or most of them.
Yep.
But Vince McMahon, being the generation he is, see him looking at him and being like, nope.
Eventually, he thought that Danielson was like a great hand, could help get guys over, could be a champion. Like, eventually he thought that. But it is interesting that he didn't see that, like, kind of at first, that he didn't necessarily see him as that guy.
Right. And even like Rey Mysterio being WWE World Champion, he's so small and so talented. That's like a special thing. Like, that's an exception to the Vince rule, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's always been the case. It's funny. If you watch that Superstar Billy Graham DVD that WWE put out a number of years ago, he's talking to Billy Graham because Billy Graham was a heel, but he was so popular, and he's like, oh, we should have made you, babyface and sold all this merch, but my dad couldn't see that vision. That's what Vince is saying about his own dad. Well, we're sitting here talking about Vince in sort of the same way.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can never see it if it's yourself, like that type of thing. You can see it in other people. You can't see it in yourself. But even like Danielson and AJ Styles, 2 guys we would consider definitely champion worthy, definitely 2 of the best guys. He didn't see it at first, so he's not like the end all be all here of wrestling.
No, and reportedly Vince has said, like, boy, I wish I would have got AJ sooner. Has it?
Yeah.
You've heard that too?
Yeah.
But part of that was a stupid thing where he wouldn't hire anybody who was in TNA. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like, no Samoa Joe, no AJ Styles, no Christopher, anybody that was kicking ass there and could possibly done good business for WWF. He just was no, which is I always thought was really stupid. So those guys were in Ring of Honor in Japan and all sorts of other stuff, Mexico.
Now, you're talking about Tony Khan. What did you think about AEW World's End, the pay-per-view from last weekend? Did you see it?
I did. I loved it. Let's talk about the Dynamite and Collision during a holiday week that preceded it. Boy, was that good. I think Brian Alvarez or somebody said, well, you basically got a pay-per-view and 2 shows during a holiday week for their regular TV. It was great. I'm not accustomed to that as a wrestling fan. I'm accustomed to, oh my God, we're in a holiday week. This is going to suck. Where's the eggnog booby match or something? Like that's what I'm used to during the holidays. Oh, there's some big Christmas party in the back where they're going to put tinsel on their heads or something. We got kick-ass wrestling from AEW. We got kick-ass wrestling from WWE too. We'll get to that later. I'm talking about during a holiday week. World's End, I thought, was a great show. I expected MJF to win, and he did. And I love that he pinned Samoa Joe in a 4-way because that's the easy out, right? He didn't pin Swerve. He didn't pin Hangman. He pinned Samoa Joe, who a year ago pinned MJF and took the belt from him. So it was poetic justice. I did not think Jon Moxley was winning the Continental Classic. I did not expect him to turn full baby face, and he'd been sort of inching there. And they had a great match. And then, this great babyface promo. I don't know what that means for the Death Riders long term, but am I ready to watch the next Dynamite and find out, which is how wrestling's supposed to work. What was it? Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Bailey had one of the most awesome matches during the Continental Classic. But what was the one in World's End? It was Kyle Fletcher and what am I missing?
John Moxley.
John Moxley. It was one of the best matches of the night. And then Moxley went in there and had another great match and won against Okada. So, and I loved his promo at the beginning about, this is Moxley speaking, guys like me are not supposed to beat a guy like Okada. He's talking about the stature. the greatest tournament wrestler of all time, obviously former New Japan World Champion, one of the best New Japan World Champions, arguably since, Inoki or Tanahashi or somebody like that. He set himself up like that and he beat the dude. I loved it. I thought it was a well done show. AEW shows are long, but they're good. Like what they gave us in that period of time was good stuff. I feel sorry for some of the women's matches. They did a great job, but the people are just because of what they just saw and what they're about to see sometimes aren't reacting as much. And not just the women, but some of the middle matches.
Yep.
But that's just a testament to how good the show is overall. I don't think anybody beats AEW when it comes to pay-per-views, even when WWE good pay-per-views, which they usually do. AEW is at another level from my fans' perspective.
Now, as far as the booking of it, though, I saw a lot of complaints online about just the way it was booked and kind of constructed.
How so?
Like MJF wins the title. Well, why did Samoa Joe just win the title? Like almost like WCW, like in '99, or like when they started giving the title around too much. Why all the title changes? I could kind of see that a little bit. I didn't kind of understand that either. It's like MJF got thrown into the match, and then now he's the champ. Well, why the hell did Samoa Joe win the title then a month ago? It's kind of, I don't know, too soon maybe.
I don't mind quick title changes like that if one of the people's going to hold it for a little bit, which I think MJF is going to. I like MJF beating Samoa Joe for the title more than I would like him beating Hangman for the title. So there's that, and that's I didn't understand why Joe beat Hangman. I thought Hangman was going to
right.
But
and
when I saw
MJF beat Hangman,
right, when I saw World's End and MJF beat him for that, which is the reverse of what happened a year ago, I'm like, that makes sense to me. I think it was great booking, and I want it. Look, MJF is his profile is getting higher and higher with these movies and all the things he's doing. That's who you want to put your title for your company on right now. I think it's a no-brainer. He's just one of the top guys, period.
It's just interesting to me. Like, well, then what the heck is going on with Samoa Joe? Why did he win the title from Hangman? Like what is it set up? Hangman versus MJF again? Like, I'm kind of just confused where they go from here.
Yeah, and I would let MJF beat him. Is there a chance Ospreay might be back for All In Wembley?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It seems soon to me.
So,
I hear
I don't know.
People say that I don't think are crazy. So, but that would be perfect
Not
booking
sure.
if MJF loses at Wembley to Will Ospreay, who still hasn't had it yet, right?
I just wondered, like, I don't know. Maybe it almost feels like they want to do title changes just to get some attention on it. But I don't know. It just was the Samoa Joe title win was kind of strange because I thought, like, okay, maybe he's going to hold it for a little bit, but no. Just transition to MJF.
No, and MJF needs to hold it for a while. If he doesn't hold it till spring or summer, I'm going to be disappointed. I guess it depends on what they do. I think my girlfriend brought this up because we always watch wrestling together, as always mentioned. What do you do with Swerve and Hangman, two of your top guys, former world champions right now? I think that'd be a hell of a tag team thing to do with those guys right now.
Yeah, right. They did team, right, on Dynamite that one week, right?
Yeah, babyface tag team. FTR has the titles. Like, what does that look like? That would be pretty cool. That's fresh. Top guys all around.
Do you think that FTR was tag team of the year?
I think they were, and FTR is my favorite tag team. Let me be clear. But I still don't think they do enough with them. They're the world champions. I love them paired with Stokely. I think he adds a lot to it. It's not as big a deal as it should be. AEW is the company that's going to give me back tag team wrestling the way I grew up with it, and I don't think they're there right now with that. Am I wrong to say that?
Yeah, I feel like it could be and should be better, considering at one point they had so many good tag teams. Now it seems like it really kind of fizzled away. Like even when they threw together Bandito and Brody King, you're like, what the hell is this? Ended up being a good team, and they end up having all this match. You're like, wait, this is like it's kind of thrown together here.
Yeah, FTR is the top tag team in wrestling, in my opinion. We could debate that. Hurt Syndicate, obviously, Bobby Lashley's out, but you can't mess with those dudes. I would push Shelton as a singles guy till Bobby's better. Or bring in Cedric Alexander or something. I don't know what his contract is. Something. Who are the other tag teams? I like Jet Speed, but that's kind of thrown together, but it works. And Brodito's over. I was surprised when they lost the titles because they have so much momentum, but maybe they don't need the titles to have that momentum.
Brody King is hurt, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I'm trying to think of other fantastic tag teams.
Young Bucks,
who I like again.
Jurassic Express, I guess, who just got thrown back together.
Two great, I guess, Bucks are baby faces again. Two great baby face teams. Who's the heel teams? FTR, who people still love, even though they're heels. Who am I missing? Hurt Syndicate are not heels. I know.
No, Bang Gang, but they're kind of baby faces.
babyface. That was one of the frustrating things to be on World's End. Do you remember that Collision show? I don't know, about a year ago, it was the Bang Bang Gang versus FTR. This is Bang Bang Gang with Jay White and Juice, and how good that match was.
Yes, long too. Yep.
So when I saw them paired up again this time with Gunn and Juice, and I saw it was a Chicago street fight, I'm like, damn, they just handicapped it. It can't be a match like that one was, and it was not. It was all right for what it was. When I see a street fight, I'm like, oh, I'm never like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I want to see a regular fight where they tag and there's rules and it matters. That's more exciting. Any dumbass can hit somebody with a trash can.
Depends on like if there's like a big feud or a blood feud or something.
Right.
Then I'm into them, but not like a random tag match. It's kind of weird.
No, if they just said this was a match, I was less excited knowing it was a street fight. What I saw was good for what it was, but it could have been better for the regular ass match.
I thought you were going to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, and Tucker were the tag team of the year. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Hey, they're one of my favorites right now. There's a big war going on within the American conservative movement. Those are two of the good guys.
Is she still on her way out? Is she still resigning?
Yeah, I think she took her last vote a week or two ago. Even said that middle of January. I guess she won't be there if they're having a special election or however that. It was mentioned over the holidays. One of my relatives, I forgot who I was talking to, but she is, and I'm not the first person to say this. I think Glenn Greenwald pointed this out. The founder's idea of a representative that goes to Congress to represent their district and come home is her. Most of these people go to Washington and stay and enrich themselves and have power. She was like a soccer mom who was mad about some stuff policy-wise, ran, got elected, went up there, made some waves, and now she's coming home. She's done. That's really the ideal of what you want in elected representatives as the founders envisioned it. You don't see it often. That's what she is. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, lean right, lean left, agree with her own policy. The model of what she did serving is the ideal model and certainly the founders model. I just think that can't be said enough.
Is it surprising that they're like kind of a team, her and Tucker? Is that like a weird one?
No, because they all still believe in what Trump ran on, America First, MAGA. Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin were like, oh, this Trump guy's popular and we have an audience. I guess we got to navigate this stuff. Oh, my God, he's against war. This is terrible. Oh, my God, Doge, he's going to cut all this. This is terrible. Now he's like, the hell with Doge. Let's start wars everywhere and bomb Venezuela. And Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin are like, man, Trump's the guy. He's all right. And Tucker's like, hey, this isn't what we talked. Taylor Greene's like, I thought we were America First. What's this? So, no, I'm not surprised because I follow the policy of it. Everybody's hung up on the personalities, whether you love Trump or hate Trump. But MAGA stood for things that Trump campaigned on, and he's ran away from a lot of those things where his original supporters have not. And kudos to them. The principal people in this equation are not Trump, or not Lindsey Graham, or not Mark Levin. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, and some others.
What is going on with Russia and Ukraine there? Like as far as we're going to do some 15-year pact or something with Ukraine? We're going to give them security? I thought we were done with them. What's going on?
The controversy over NATO is we're on the hook. When Russia invaded, if they were part of NATO, we're on the hook, the Americans, to put soldiers on the ground and go over there and die for their war. And most Americans, if you poll or ask them, don't want that. Right. Most politicians do in both parties. Giving them a 15-year security deal, they're not in NATO, but what the hell difference is that for 15 years, if you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So kudos to President Trump for trying to usher in a peace deal. That's a bad aspect of it. My former boss, Rand Paul, has been very vocal about what the hell is this? This is not America First. But the last thing I heard as of this recording is that Trump is claiming that Putin's open to this deal. I thought a 15-year security guarantee might have been a deal breaker, but we'll see. However they can get peace over there, good. However we can extract ourselves out of it, good, which a 15-year security guarantee is not that. So,
yeah, it seems wacky to me. It seems crazy. Like I thought we were trying to get out of this nonsense.
It's not America First. It's not America First.
Definitely not. Love that team, though, like we were saying with MTG and Tucker, though. It's such a weird, interesting kind of team, but I love it. Good tag.
Yeah, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I used to think was like this crazy person that I liked her on a couple things, but whatever. I think she's pretty heroic at this point. The stance she's made, the first Republican member of Congress to call what's happening in Gaza a genocide openly, which it is. The United Nations calls it that. Other head states around the world, a majority of the world calls it that because that's what it is. That term has a definition and it means something. That's what's going on. I don't think she's going to be out of the limelight, whether it's podcasts or just being an influencer or whatever. And I think that's a good thing for American politics.
So as far as some wrestling is concerned, just as far as some best matches or match of the year, wrestler of the year, different things like that. What do you think? What do you think is, because I know Sports Illustrated, basically, I guess they're in bed with AEW. Everything's AEW. Last year, everything was WWE. So I guess they were in bed with WWE last year. Now they're in bed with AEW. Like, I kind of disagreed with almost everything that they threw out there. But just what do you think, just as far as some of your favorite matches of the year?
This is so hard for me. First of all, before I forget about it, I love Becky Lynch coming out saying, "I'm the best wrestler ever," according to Sports Illustrated, right? And
Right.
Monet at World's End's like, "I got best wrestler of the year according to Sports Illustrated," because they're friends. They're four horsewomen from WWE, and they're both heels. So that was pretty fun. John, the best match of the year befuddles me every year because, like, I'm thinking like, oh, Elil Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes from last week, like, because that was a hell of a
Good match.
right?
Good match. Yep.
You know, Speedball Bailey and Kyle Fletcher, but like there
Good
were
match. Yeah.
matches that I'm not remembering because these two have taken my attention more recently. So I don't know. Educate me. Remind me of some things I'm forgetting about.
I did, because I did a top 10 and I was going through a bunch of the matches, and there were so many I pretty much forgot or didn't remember or just flat out had to leave out because I felt like there were so many good matches. I thought Cena had a bunch of really good matches this year, to be honest. I liked the Gunther match. I love the AJ match. I thought the Cody Rhodes match was his best. I thought that was awesome at SummerSlam.
I did too. And when we're talking about good matches, they don't like Will Ospreay is going to have the best matches all the time. That style of match, like we all love that. But like what Cena and AJ Styles did, that's like one of the best matches of the year, just because of the story it told and paying ode to all their rivals. I mean, AJ Styles paying on in a WWE ring with John Cena, pretty damn cool, right? So it doesn't all have to be the same. But yeah, how many of those matches that you picked was Will Ospreay in or Swerve? I don't know.
Osprey definitely was in. Oh, there was a TV match with Takeshita that I loved from April, Spring Breakthrough. That was awesome. Osprey against Kyle Fletcher in the cage was awesome. I feel like Osprey this year maybe didn't have as many because he got injured, but man, you could just name a ton. Like every match he was in was great. People loved his match with Adam Page. So Adam Page would go on to face, I guess it was the Owen Hart final. Everyone loved that. So Osprey, almost every year he's almost like a shoe-in for like a bunch of them.
Yeah, and so let's talk about this list to the degree I remember it. Like, I know you're not a Hangman fan. I am. He got Wrestler of the Year.
Yep.
Who else? I mean, Cody could get Wrestler of the Year every year while he's on top. I mean, what are we talking about? Roman's hasn't been there much.
Yeah. Honestly, to me, and people might think this is crazy, I thought Punk was Wrestler of the Year, to be honest. I feel like
that's the next thing I was going to say. Like, how do you measure that against Hangman? Hangman's been one of my favorite wrestlers of the year. Let me preface it. I liked him finally have a run that felt like he was the champ more than the first time around. Going through his crazy phase, it ended up where he is, but like Punk's on top. I saw this stuff that Kevin Nash was saying, time for him to retire. I'm like, I'm not a wrestler, and far be it from me.
He's on fire.
Yes, yeah.
No, he's definitely in the groove right now. He's on fire.
Yeah. Monet Women's Wrestler of the Year. If you're judging that by how many belts she have, which matter to varying degrees, I don't think that's a good metric, but it looks like that's what they did. Am I wrong?
I thought that was weird because I didn't think she was like that great this year. Like she's good, but I was like, really, her?
Yeah,
I was surprised. I thought maybe Toni Storm.
Toni Storm. Rhea Ripley wasn't there because she was hurt. She's like Cody. She's always Wrestler of the Year for as long as she's doing her thing, right? Io Sky, there's an argument for that. She got over in a big way, and the thing.
Yeah.
Monet's great. I'm a Monet fan, and I'm an AEW fan. I'm always cheering for them, but that didn't register with me.
That's like very gimmicky or very like storyline driven. Oh, she won the most titles. Oh, then she's the woman wrestler of the year. I feel like that was like very, I don't know, kayfabe ish.
Yeah, and like I'm a big fan of Rev Pro, but that she had their championship to me is different than having the TBS title or some CMLL. You know what I mean? It's just different
Yes.
layers. It just is what it is. So I don't know what else was on that list. Well, Hangman and Swerve won Feud of the Year, I believe, and I can kind of go with that. I'm trying to think what would be a better feud. The Bloodline thing kind of dominated wrestling while that was going on, but that's on pause for now.
I had Punk versus Rollins really as my feud of the year. I thought that was the best.
Good one. That's a good one. And that's another thing. Like, all right, WWE's bigger than AEW in many respects, but AEW's the other big company. Like, how do you measure all that? I don't have an answer, but I don't know if just what I enjoy the most me is the right metric either, because we're all different.
Yep. I went out of my way to watch MJF versus Mystico from September from the 92nd year anniversary show from CMLL. That's up there. I put it in my top 3 easily for a match. That was awesome.
Well, and this last AAA show with Dominic and El Grande and all that kind of stuff, you had some of the WWE performers reportedly saying that was the best WWE show of the year.
Yes.
And it was a damn good show. I don't know if it was the best one of the year. This is what I can't get over, and educate me. They were saying Corey Graves couldn't be at, I guess, something because they sent him to Mexico for that AAA show. I can't find an English feed for those show. I watched that show in Spanish. It was on WWE.
There wasn't an English feed though, so that's weird on that.
What the hell was Corey Graves doing down there? That's why you send him down there to do English commentary, right? So I watched the whole thing in Spanish. After a while, it didn't bother me at all. They don't even have closed captioning for those shows. The AEW ones have at least that. So, but it was a damn good show.
I don't even mind because I love listening to the crowd. The announcers usually go nuts, so I don't even mind. Yeah, I'll watch it. I feel like you don't even need English commentary sometimes on wrestling.
The first time I found it irritating, and we're 3 or 4 of those AAA WWE back shows now, and it's been Spanish each time except the first time, and it doesn't phase me at all at this point. I'm just like, this is a damn good show. I mean, it's the crowds. Those crowds are awesome. When I saw one of those shows was in Vegas, I'm like, I'll watch, but I want to see it in Mexico. It's always better.
So, like the promotion of the year, obviously Sports Illustrated, they had AEW's promotion of the year. Even though if you really look, attendance was down, TV ratings. So it's like, wait, how could that promotion be promotion of the year? We don't even know if they're profitable. WWE had one of their best years ever. It's so much money, but creatively they stunk. So it's just like, do you really want to give it to them? So Meltzer was throwing out their CMLL, 50 sellouts on the year, over 1 million tickets sold. I mean, even without AEW being a part of any help with CMLL, they were just kicking ass and taking names. So maybe even CMLL, you can kind of, maybe put an asterisk next to it as promotion of the year and say maybe WWE made more money, but CML kicked ass and take some names. AAA too, obviously with the WWE deal made some money this year.
That's the question again. What's the metric? Is it the old school who made the most money? Because CMLB, as we talked about before, CMLL does not need AEW. They have a relationship because the other big Mexican companies working with WWE.
Yep.
And it's good for the fans and the wrestlers and the companies and everything else. But like, if they made the most money, is WWE the money they're making, even though ticket sales went down a little bit, but the money they're making between TV rights and ticket sales and whatever else, merch, whatever, shouldn't they be the number one company every year? But maybe that's
pretty much.
Right. I don't know the metrics. AEW creatively was more interesting to me than WWE this year. If that's the metric, then that's the proper award. But I think there's different ways to measure these things.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about AEW this year, because a lot of people didn't like their creative, but then you want to say like, well, what do we think about WWE creative? And then you look at WWE creative like, yeah, that wasn't very good this year. So it's like AEW might win by default or something on that.
They had some cool stuff. I never watched WWE much this year. It's like, oh man, this sucks. It's just like paled in comparison to where it was a year and a half ago.
That was my fear too, because it's like, okay, you had all these ideas, and you got to give credit to do though. Like the Cody storyline, the Bloodline, those are Vince ideas. So now we're literally just focused on Triple H ideas, and then it's like, okay, the John Cena heel turn. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and like the Vision, so I don't know what wasn't strong creatively, definitely compared to. Obviously the prior year and even the year before was great creatively.
Yeah, and Vince came up with Vince would do the thing where he had the one big story and everything else kind of got neglected, because that's what people praise Vince Russo about, is that he gave like the mid card and the lower card attention for good or ill. which is a good thing. Bloodline was a great story. Vince idea was carried on by Triple H. Besides that, when we're talking about current WWE product, I'm like, oh, it wasn't where it was a year and a half ago. I'm always thinking, look at where it was 7 years ago, because that was crap for a wrestling fan. So even if they're not doing their best right now, boy, it's leaps and bounds better than it was, 6 or 7 years ago under a different regime.
Yeah, Vince was pretty brutal at times. But we're giving him some credit for the bloodline, the Cody Rhodes stuff. But man, some of those years, brutal storylines, and you could just tell he just did not give it to him. Like he's like, well, you'll eat shit like it, pal.
Yeah, and what was that thing with him and Stephanie were like sitting in the ring and saying it's going to be a new day, we're going to give the fans what they want. Like they did that multiple times. It's never. It's what Vince wants, for good or ill. I mean, he wanted Hulk Hogan too. That was great. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, sometimes he hits, and sometimes, boy, he misses. Yeah, that's true. So, we're talking about, obviously, maybe what really could be the match of the year, promotion of the year, the feud of the year, but we got to look ahead, too, because WWE's got some pretty big shows lined up. And I thought this was interesting because this could easily be the main event of Royal Rumble, either one of these matches. So Raw on 1/5, which is the Netflix 1-year anniversary show, the first show of the year for Raw, CM Punk versus Braun Breaker for the WWE or for the World Heavyweight title. Then SmackDown on 1/9, which will technically be the second SmackDown, but really the restart of things as far as starting the year for WWE. Has a huge match in Germany, 3 stages of hell. Cody Rhodes defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. What do you think about that? I mean, really starting off the year high. What the heck? The Royal Rumble's getting no title matches? What's going on here?
Royal Rumble's going to be good just because of the nature of it. And they'll put it together. But I think I've made multiple predictions on this program about somebody's going to win the championship. I'm wrong. I think Braun Breaker's beating Punk. I think they're going to pull the trigger. Do you disagree?
Honestly, I don't know, but it's like 50-50. Like I could see them doing that. I could see them not doing it because I could see them going in a different direction with Punk and the title. But it's almost like if you're going to pull the trigger or whatever on Breaker, why not do it right now and set it off with Netflix and do something exciting? So I don't know. You never know with WWE. Like maybe Roman could come back and cost Breaker or something, or LA Knight or something crazy. But I don't know why not on Breaker? He's ready.
Why not? What a great feud when Seth's well again. I mean, it writes itself. I don't know how long that's going to be. It sounds like he's going to be out for a while. What these rumors about Chris Jericho might pop up on the January 5th show because his contract ends December 31st. I saw that from people who I did not think were complete liars, or maybe I'm getting misinformation. Did you see that too?
That's a big rumor. Yeah, could be him coming out basically. Yeah, to WWE come back. Yep.
That's this WWE. What I was talking about past booking versus when Triple H says something like tonight the game's going to change for the WWE. It might not be as fantastical as what you imagine, but something happens. There's a news item that happens. They usually are good about delivering that. And in the past, they could be a main event. It might not even happen at all. They're good about that. AEW's pretty good about that too. And that's what I want for my wrestling. You made a promise and deliver. Whether Punk wins or Braun Breaker wins, that match is going to be good. The young upstart Steiner. I love Punk insulting his family in the promos.
That was great.
Steiner's not known for their brains and all that. And like Rick and Scott probably signed off on that. And they probably loved being part of the mix in a current storyline with their, Rick's son. But I'm looking forward to that show. And I think it's cool that they're making the anniversary of the debut on Netflix a big deal, because it is a big deal.
The thing is, too, with Cody, which is kind of one of those things where people are basically saying, oh, Drew should win. I don't know if Drew should win, but I kind of like the way this feud's been going. Maybe other people haven't. I saw some people complaining about that segment at Drew's house on SmackDown. I thought that was great. Like, they got to do stuff like that more often. It's so out of the box. It's cool.
I did, too. Drew's been champion. Unfortunately, it was during COVID, which sucks. I don't know that he should be. Cody's the guy, and I think he should be the champion. I think this is a Hulk Hogan kind of situation. Am I wrong to say that?
I totally agree. I was thinking that too. Okay, we love Drew. He's great, but wouldn't it be great if Cody just kept beating him and Drew couldn't beat him? Like, because the title should be important. I don't like to see it change so much. I like to see Cody be champion and go forward with it. Like, and just, maybe feud with Orton next or somebody else and keep feuding with guys. But I don't want to see him lose it. That's stupid.
Yeah, I know we're past the territory days, but growing up and Ric Flair was always champion, the reason for that is we're a heel territory in the Carolinas and the Southeast and Jim Crockett. Dusty was champ, he was champ for a month. Ric Flair champion again. That's WWF. Hulk Hogan. It was more of a babyface territory. Bob Backlund, Bruno. It's 2025. A lot of that stuff doesn't matter, but when Cody's one of your top merch guys, he is the Hulk Hogan of right now. Kids are dressing up like him. They want their parents to take them to WWE shows because of Cody. He's not only your favorite as a young fan, young or old, but he's the champion. He's the top guy. He is Mr. WWE. I think that's what you do with him for as long as that is still working.
All right. Good point. Let's wrap this bad boy up and head towards the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2ManPowerTrip. How about you, Jack?
You can follow me on Twitter /X at JackHunter74, and you'll see this after the new year, but Happy New Year to everyone.
And I saw, a bunch of kind of weird tweets from people. If you play Cody Rhodes' theme at a certain time, the whoa goes off when the New Year's ball drops. I was like, okay, that's too much. Too much, guys.
I might look into that, actually. That's fun.
Kind of funny, but it's almost like, guys, come on, what are we doing here? You guys are nuts. It's like you're taking a little too far here with some of this stuff.
That's like Pink Floyd and Another Brick in the Wall, or excuse me, with Wizard of Oz.
Yes. I didn't know that, but my father-in-law told me that because I guess he's a big Pink Floyd fan. I was like, really? And apparently that is true. Very interesting.
Who did the math on the Cody song? And
what a weird. Yeah, exactly. Guys, too much. Whoa! And the ball drops. Like, come on. Too crazy. But thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody out there for listening. See you right back here next week for a little Capital and Kayfabe. See you then.